Morning guys, Dan from On Track Detailing here and another episode of We Detail Cars on a glorious sunny Monday morning. Got this big old Range Rover behind us, as you can see, quite dirty. As usual, these things have been well used. So it is, believe it or not, a dark blue under there, not just black, which I'm sure later in the video you'll see with some 50/50s and some before and afters, a real nice metallic in the dark blue paint. But she's having the work, so the usual deep clean decontamination prep, multiple stages of machine polishing, multiple layers of ceramic coating, glass done, interior done, wheels off done, everything really. So she'll be looking back to factory fresh in about a week or so.
The Range Rover originally came out in 1969, and it was a far cry from the luxurious models that you see today. Originally designed as a utilitarian vehicle, it has since evolved into a high-class premium SUV with all of the latest onboard technology, some of which we'll cover later. You can see it came in covered in mud and general grime from the country lanes. Not to mention the overall paint condition, which even when it's dirty, you can still see the swirl marks, which just goes to show how bad it is. The interior was in quite good overall condition, and it does have the latest technology. Heads-up display, digital driver's display, leather absolutely everywhere, and massage seats. The owner told me that they were brilliant, and I had to give them a try. So I did. But it did make it very difficult to start the rest of the detail, as I didn't want to get back up. And do notice here the soft closed doors, which means that the doors will shut automatically for you. As per the rest of the exterior, the engine bay looked like it hadn't seen a wash in quite a long time, so we'll give everything a good clean underneath here as well. This particular engine is a 4.4 litre V8 turbo diesel with 335 horsepower. Another feature of the Range Rover is its adjustable air suspension. We're going to raise it to its maximum height, which will allow us to clean the wheels and arches more easily. Here we are applying a citrus pre-wash solution to help lift the dirt that didn't come off with the initial pressure wash. The reason for this is that we're trying to remove as much dirt as possible without having to touch the paint with a wash mitt. This means that there's less chance of putting further swirls or scratches into the paint, and I do appreciate that this car has already got some swirls, but we don't want to add to that. While the pre-wash is working, we're going to go around cleaning the door shuts and the boot shuts, window rubbers and other trim areas. Now onto the engine bay, we'll again use the citrus pre-wash after an initial rinse as a first step. This will be then followed up by snow foam and a variety of brushes to get into all the hard to reach areas. do have a full reverse osmosis and deionized water system. This gives us water with 0 total dissolved solids. These are things like calcium, magnesium, sodium and more. And when normal tap water dries either naturally or in the sun, the remaining solids are what cause the watermarks. So by using this type of filtered water, it means we can wash cars in direct sunlight without any chance of leaving watermarks ourselves. Once inside and dried, you can see just how bad the paint on the Range Rover really is. And while we did chemically decontaminate it while outside, the paint was still rough underhand, so we had to clay it. Claying will introduce further marks into the paint. However, we are polishing the car, so it's not too much of a problem. I would only ever recommend claying the car if you do plan on polishing it afterwards.
Hello guys, right, we're going to get onto the black plastic section here on the top of the Range Rover. As you can see, it's very heavily swirled. It's pretty common with these types of material. And I'll do a 50-50 line, so I'll put some tape down and then you can see the before and after.
We typically remove large badging such as this in order to polish underneath it to give the best results. The first step is to remove the badges, and for this we can use fishing line or even dental floss. And then once the badges are removed, you're left with the residue. And the best way to remove the residue is to soak some tissue paper in the tar and glue removal product of your choice. We're using AutoSmart TARDIS here and allow it some time to work. Once that's done, you'll be left with the outline of the badge, which needs to be polished to be removed. This is due to the sun causing the paint to expand and contract around the badge over a long period of time. It's also the same kind of damage that can happen with bird poop. Here we are removing the wheels to allow them to be fully decontaminated and ceramic coated, which is much harder to do with them on the car. And while Dan's doing that, I'm going to get started with the polishing. And just for your information, we're going to be using this Lake Country pad, the one on the left, for the cutting. This is going to remove the heavy swirls, but it will leave some micro marring behind. So to remove that, we're going to use the Roots yellow polishing pad, which will refine the finish. Okay guys, we're getting onto the polishing now, and you can see there's a lot of heavy swirl marks, which is very typical of these Range Rovers, unfortunately. Being big slab-sided vehicles, they're often subject to some poor washing and also brush marks, etc. from going down the country lanes. So we're going to polish this, remove all of these swirl marks and get a really good mirror finish. I need power again. Using a nice edgeless microfiber towel, as the finish is quite delicate on these, so if you use a cheaper microfiber you might potentially scratch the surface. So a new microfiber, we're going to fold it in 4s, so corner to corner twice, which will give you effectively 8 towels, because you've got 1, 2, fold it the other way, 3, 4, and then you can reverse the towel and have another 4. Also stops any pressure points on the paint when you're buffing. Always make sure that you use the folded cloth. This paint is quite sticky as well, so it grabs the cloth when you're trying to buff the polish off, which makes life a little bit harder. So after that, we're going to use our panel wipe. We're using Carper Eraser, which is a standard one that we use. It smells lovely and it's very effective, so it's a win-win, which removes any polishing oils from the surface of the paint, leaving you with the true finish. Normally the polishes we use don't have any fillers anyway, so there's not a lot of difference in most cases, but still it's a good practice to do. So yeah, you can see that overall it's significantly improved finish. We'll need to get the 3-inch or maybe the 1-inch machine on these lower sections, and obviously do the top part as well. But you can see that the difference is night and day from the 50/50 line, which I'll show you now. And this is always the most satisfying part of the job. Look at that difference. So this is after the cutting pass, and you might be thinking, oh my god, this is not a detail as, you know, finish, as these weird hazing and marking, and that is typical of working on sort of Jaguar Land Rover paint. The finish is very soft, the lacquer is quite soft, so it marks easily, but you can see if you look, the actual swirl marks themselves have gone, and you've just got these micro marring or holograms that we call. So this is a cutting phase. After the cutting is done on the whole car, we will then come back around and refine everything. On the boot as well, just like on the front of the car, we've taken a badge off to make sure that we can polish everything fully. And again, the residue has been left, so this has already been tar removed, and now we just have to polish off the residue. It's smooth completely, so this is just a build-up of dirt and rubbish around the badge over many years. And you can see on the left where we haven't polished, and you can see the somewhat 50/50 line there, and then on the right where all of the residue and high spots from the badge have been removed fully. So we'll crack on, get this side done, and then when it's all done, we'll put the badge back on at the end.
Okay, so as before, we've cut quite hard. We've used a reasonably aggressive polish and pad combination, which has left the hazing and holograms, micro marring, whatever you would like to call it. So as for the rest of the car, we're going to make sure that we get the lower parts of the doors and the tops with a 3-inch machine. And then when the whole car is cut and corrected, we're going to go back around and remove all of these hazings to leave a really nice mirror finish.
Just a quick note here, I'm taping off the plastic section just because if you do catch it with a polisher, the polish can often stain the plastic and it can be quite difficult to get out. Not forgetting the headlights and tail lights, which can also get swirl marks and scratches like you can see here. These can be polished just like paint, so we'll tackle these and get them improved.
There's a sticker on the boot, a UK sticker, which is to indicate that the car is from the United Kingdom when the owner takes it into the rest of Europe, France, etc. He has asked me to remove the sticker for him, so I'll get the tire and glue remover out, do that, polish underneath it, and then the owner will be able to refit a new sticker at the end of the detail. Cool, so the sticker's gone. As you can see, there's no residue or glue left, and we've given it a polish just to remove the very slight etching that was around the badge. There is one section that we couldn't get to when we were polishing the rest of the car because of the split tailgate. So in here, the tailgate on this car and on all Range Rovers splits in half. So there's a section that goes up underneath here which we aren't able to polish normally. As you can see, it extends sort of 3 to 4 inches upwards. So we've been able to polish up to this line with the tailgate shut. But now that it's open, we'll mask this off to not damage the plastic and then improve this area here. So you can see on the left here, we've not polished yet. The mark from where the tailgate sits against the bottom half is very prominent, and you've got the normal swirls and marks, scratches, etc. And then you can see as we've moved over to the side that we have polished, the swirl marks have gone. There is still some light marking from the tailgate. Unfortunately, it has etched the boot permanently, and it's not just a problem on this car. We've seen it on a few other Range Rovers that we've worked on. So if you have a Range Rover and yours is either new or doesn't look like this, I would very strongly recommend getting some paint protection film installed on that area. It wouldn't be very expensive. You're only talking about 1 meter wide and approximately 2 inches deep, and it can just be custom fit and trimmed onto the car. Okay guys, we finally, after nearly 2.5 days, finished all of the corrective polishing on this Range Rover. So we did mention there's some hazing, micro marring, which has been left from the corrective process. We're going to remove that now with the refinement. We're going to use a much softer pad and a much more gentle polish to remove the micro marring and hazing. Just an idea of the refined finish. This door, the rear door, has been corrected but not refined. And then the rear quarter has had a refinement step. So you see that's crystal clear now compared to here.
We make sure to polish every area, even areas that you wouldn't normally see. So here we're going to use the 1-inch polisher, the Flex PXE80 on the shark fin aerial on the roof. It's heavily faded, and as you can see, the before and after on this small section alone makes it well worth the effort.
Right, we are done with the polishing now. We've done all the correction and refinement that we need to do. It's time to lock in the finish. We're going to use Geon Mo's Evo, and we're going to apply it with our little microfiber applicator here. And then once that's done, it will be well protected for about 2 to 3 years with this particular coating.
Here I'm just wiping the car down a final time with our prep solution, which is Car Pro Eraser in this case, to ensure the best bond between the ceramic coating and the paint. You can see the coating flash off here in the time lapse and the micro beading, which shows that the coating is ready to be buffed or leveled off. Now, while the wheels were off the car, I noticed that the brake calipers really let it down. So as a little bonus for the owner, I gave them a light dusting with some satin black paint. Now, this is not a full refurbishment job by any means, and it was a freebie for the client, so please don't judge the results too harshly. They are still a good improvement, so I'm quite happy with the results.
Now that the polishing and the coating has been done, we're going to move on to the interior. It's not too dirty, the owner does look after it, but we can still improve it. So it's going to give the very soft leather a nice gentle wipe down, clean out the rubber floor mats, get rid of all the dust from the screens and whatnot in the front, and it will be looking and feeling a lot more fresh.
To clean these rubber floor mats, I start off with a quick hoover to remove the loose dirt, and then we use all-purpose cleaner and a microfiber towel. Another method that you could use is to use soapy water and a scrub brush, and you can also just jet them down. Here I'm using an antibacterial cleaner to gently clean the leather. You don't need to use a harsh cleaner on leather most of the time. It's always best to use the least aggressive method possible to achieve the desired results. The before and after on the interior is nothing drastic, as like I said, it was already in a good condition, but now everything is fresh, clean and hygienic.
One area that the owner of the car has asked us to pay particular attention to is the parcel shelf that goes in the back. And you can see there's a lot of stain marks and it's just a bit faded and discoloured.
There were a few dents on the car from car parks, etc., such as this one here. We did have our dent man Chris come down to remove these. Paintless dent removal really is an art, and it's not as easy as it looks. I would like to learn it one day. The results were achieved by using a variety of bars and brackets, etc., to push the dent out from behind, and then in some occasions you might need to finish the dent off from the top with a soft hammer. Now with the wheels and tyres installed back onto the car and torqued, the final thing is to dress the tyres, and that always signifies the end of the detail. Now we're going to get it down off the ramp, into the clean room, the final pictures.
Okay guys, you can see the Range Rover is all finished now. It's looking much better than when it came in. It's had our multi-stage polish, a 2 to 3 year ceramic coating, glass coating on, had the interior cleaned, and it's looking much better. It looks like a big black mirror, although it's not actually black, it's a sort of metallic blue. So thank you very much guys for watching this episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you in the next one.